Alright, so this one is on IMW, and IMW, it stands for independent marker word. So we had dependent marker words before, so these are independent marker words. So you could probably, guess as to what they do. So I'll give you examples, right? So example words include, also these are actually technically known as adverbial conjunctions, right? Again, it's jargon you don't need to know, right? I'm just telling you just in case you heard it differently. So these words include however, moreover, indeed, meanwhile, no, not moreover, consequently, conversely, versely, and maybe finally, right? So these are all adverbs that combine, right? That's what they basically are, and you need to really be careful with them because these are not the same as dependent marker words. So the sentence structure that we have up here is IMWIC. So let's do an example. We say like, however, he didn't work at the pet shop, right? So this is the independent clause that you guys saw before, and however is the independent marker word, right? Or adverbial conjunction. So the difference between this sentence and this is huge, right? I can't emphasize this enough. This is not the same thing, okay? This is not the same thing because look, even Microsoft Word, the horrible grammar checker that it is, says it's wrong, right? This is a dependent clause. Although and however function, pretty much the same way, except that one, it's allowed to be independent, right? Part of a sentence. This turns an independent clause into a dependent clause. So really be careful of that, right? So, however, moreover, all these words, they can be placed in independent clauses and it still makes sense. And you could put, adverbial conjunctions in many different places. So, for instance, you could put however, and I'm sure some of you have already seen this. So I could do like he and then put comma, however, right? He didn't work at the pet shop. He, however, didn't work at the pet shop. This is adverbial conjunction, right? They just placed it somewhere else. You could also put it probably, we did it in the beginning, then in the middle. You could also do in the end, however, like this. I know some of this may seem a little awkward, but as you read more and more, you'll probably see, you'll probably run into it more often, right? And then now you'll know what the purpose is. Now, I'll give you a typical error that the SAT gives you. So they do it like this. So I like dogs. However, I own a cat. So this sentence is wrong, right? And you could probably guess why. So let's look at the sentence structure. This is an independent clause, right? This is an independent marker word, and this is an independent clause. So basically what this is IC, comma, IMW, IC, which is not any of the sentence structures that I've mentioned before, right? This is what's known as a comma splice. Because if you take this out, right, it's simply two independent clauses combined with a comma. It's one of the most common errors on the SATs and other standardized tests, so you should really understand this. So how can you fix this, right? You're going to run into, you could fix this many different ways. So you could fix it probably, the easiest fix would be to put but over here, but you should take out the comma, and there's a reason why you shouldn't put a comma after but unless you insert a phrase like but at personally, maybe, I don't know, or at times I own a cat. That doesn't make any logical sense, but the whole point is to show that you should put a comma after but if you insert a phrase, but otherwise it shouldn't be there. So this is a simple fix, right? I like dogs, independent clause. Coordinate conjunction, independent clause. Alright, that's one of the typical examples. But what if you have to fix it with however? Right? It was like this, however. Here's the problem, right? A simple fix would be to simply say, put a semicolon here. That perfectly fixes it. right? I like dogs, semicolon. However, I own a cat. That's a perfect fix. But the thing is, remember how the adverbial conjunction could be placed in many different ways? So, how do you know it's not, I like dogs, comma, however, right? So if I put the semicolon here, it means that however is functioning for the former sentence, not the latter, right? So you should really, really be careful of that. Now, let's look at a really, really tough sentence structure I'll give you guys. See if you can make a sentence using this structure. So I have IC, DC, CC, DC, comma, IC, semicolon. I'm W, DC, comma, IC, CC, IC, DC. So this is actually one sentence, right? So try to make an example sentence using this sentence structure. And remember, the whole point of sentence structures is to give you confidence into knowing different types of sentence structures, so you could vary them, right? Sometimes reading the same types of sentence structures gets really, really tedious, right? So pause for a second, see if you could write one, okay? And then I'll give you the one that I wrote, okay? So this is the one I made. So I work at the pet shop because I like dogs. But although they are cute, they smell. Nevertheless, if I want to pay my rent, I need a job. So I should work hard, even though I sometimes throw up because of the smell. Okay, so let's identify all the parts of the sentence. So it's I work at the pet shop. Oh, I work at the pet shop. That is an independent clause. Because I like dogs is a dependent clause, but is a coordinate conjunction, right? Although this is dependent marker word, but I'm not going to note dependent marker words, and you'll probably understand why as you do the questions more and more. So although it's a dependent marker word, so although they are cute, this is a dependent clause, right? I think I did dependent clause in red. Although they are cute, they smell. They smell is the independent clause. Whoops. They smell is the independent clause. That's not it. Nevertheless is the adverbial conjunction. I'll do this in italics. If I want to pay my rent, which is an independent clause, dependent clause, right? Because it starts with the word if, it needs something else. Okay. I need a job. I need a job is a independent clause. So I think I need to underline those. Well, that comma shouldn't be, underlined, but you get the idea. So is a coordinate conjunction, which I did in bold. I should work hard. I should work hard is a sentence. So it's an independent clause. So I think I underline those. Even though, so this is, well, I don't want to dependent marker word because it's actually a dependent marker phrase, right? Technically. So even though I sometimes throw up because of smell. So the sentence over here is I sometimes throw up because of the smell. This is an independent clause. But this phrase makes it dependent, so this is a dependent clause, which I marked in red. So this is, it looks like a really, really, tough sentence structure. I know it looks daunting, but if you break down everything, you could probably write many different combinations or permutations of these sentences, right? And I'll teach you guys more stuff, inserting like prepositional phrases or dashes, a positive, all those things. And once you know all those things, including coordinate adjectives, you'll be able to write many different types of sentences, and hopefully gives you more confidence in expressing what you want to. Okay? Thanks.